In this video, I'm going to show you 5 cool techniques that I used in the following product commercial that you should also try at home. In this video, we're going to go over some of the techniques that I tried in the commercial piece that I actually have never tried before, but I thought you guys will appreciate it and you should incorporate it in your product commercials. Firstly, how did I make these float? Okay, you guys need to try this technique. The opportunities to get creative are endless and it's so fun. I firstly got a drill, a glue gun, and some plastic straws. Don't worry guys, I reused the straws. Hashtag save the turtles. I then had to empty the contents out of the hair mask in order for it to be lightweight and be supported by the straw. Depending on how heavy the product is, you may need a tougher straw or a rod. I then hot glued the straw to the hair mask container. Why did I use a glue gun, I hear you ask? Well, it forms a very strong bond between objects of different materials. Whereas if I was to use blue tack on a smooth surface like this one, because of the centrifugal forces when it's spinning, it will very easily just come off. So using the drill, I spanned the hair mask in front of the colored backdrop. The reason that I didn't use a green screen or a blue screen was because at that distance, I would get a lot of spill on the product. And it's quite a headache to get rid of the spills. If you're going to use a green screen, I recommend you have a lot of distance between the product and the green screen to avoid the spilling issue. In post is where things get a bit more fun. So I use After Effects because the masking tools are way better than those in Premiere Pro. Once I mastered the object, I had this container by itself, which could be manipulated in any way. If you rotate it and add some keyframes, you get a really cool looking effect, as if it was made in 3D, which is pretty cool. On this shot, I made a row of these rotating shots and I changed the timing so that they started a few seconds later as they went along, giving that whole twisting look. The same concept for the spiral shot, but instead I just changed the scale of them. You should literally try this and there's so many ways you can get creative and it's pretty easy in my opinion. So I'm not weird like some of these YouTubers that have fish tanks lying around their home. And I'm sure you don't have one at home either. So I used the next best thing, a glass oven tray. I did have to clean it to get rid of some of the leftover chicken nuggets, but anyways, no, don't worry about that. Something that really helped with this shot was this. So these are macro tubes and I've talked about these before in my soundboard commercial video. They basically turn any lens into a macro lens, which is actually quite insane because macro lenses are usually very expensive. And for this shot, these macro tubes allowed me to get really close to the tank, isolating the entire image, even though it was quite a small tank. So if you have a small setup, I definitely recommend you get something like these. Also, because I was so close, I could control the motion of the hair mask, allowing me to really control how I was going to behave on the water without having to always drop it and just wait until I get a good looking motion. If you're interested in these, I will leave a link in the description below so you can check it out and find out more. On the topic of water, here's a quick one. So there are many ways to make a product look wet for a commercial. The first is by spraying it with water that gives it that condensation effect. But in the commercial that I did, I wanted some thick water droplets. So what I used was actually some hand sanitizer. I'm sure you have one of these lying around your home, but basically because the liquid is so viscous, you get really thick looking water droplets. They'll move very slowly, which is really nice and very appealing. This is pretty fun and I've actually tried this a few times in other videos before, but it's so easy. You basically want to film the products dropping on the table. I shot this, I think 100 frames per second, just because when you do it at normal speed, it's too fast. Then you want to also film a clean plate, which is basically a shot with nothing there. In post, you mask whatever is below as the product is coming down with the clean plate below it. And then as soon as the thing hits, you can add a smoke layer on top. You can get this in many different stock sites. Set it to screen. You can maybe change the scale and you get like a pretty fun, not so serious looking falling shot, which I think is pretty cool. Stop motion. So if you want a bit of variety in your product shots, I would recommend incorporating some stop motion. It's very easy to do because you're just taking photos and you're moving the objects around, and you get a very specific and different look as opposed to shooting everything at normal speed. It also allows you to get some really complicated shots that would probably take you a lot of strings and things to do, and it makes your videos stand out more because when you incorporate it in the middle of really nice looking cinematic product shots, you get like a nice dynamic look and feel, and it can actually keep people's attention, and attention is the game when it comes to a product commercial. As well as that, you get more dynamic range if you're using a camera that shoots raw photos, and you get more resolution if you need to crop things in. With the A7 III, I basically got 6K 14-bit raw video after I converted the photos into video, which is way better than the 4K 8-bit that the camera has internally. You obviously get the stop motion effect, but I think you can get really clever and creative with it. For more behind the scenes commercial videos, check out this playlist right here. And if you liked this video and it brought you some value, make sure to leave it a like below. And once you're down there, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe to the channel as it helps me out. And it's free. Can you believe it? It's actually free to subscribe. With that being said, I will see you in the next video.